Hey guys, it's Ty here, back with another video. In today's video I want to speak about exposure therapy, and I was sent these books. I've got a couple of other diagrams I'll go through, and I'll leave a link to these down below for you, because I think they'll be very beneficial. If you've had a combustional behavioural therapy, you probably got these, but if you haven't, first thing I'll recommend is seek professional advice from a qualified counsellor or psychiatrist, because I'm not a professional. I'm just someone who's giving you advice on what's worked for me, and what I do to help me. It's basically just tips we can all share and relate to. But seek advice, seek therapy. I've got some links down below which I'll leave for you for like free counselling sessions for the NHS and whatnot, so that'll be very beneficial. But first things first, let's go through this. Now, exposure therapy, in my opinion, is the only way to beat anxiety, because you're constantly getting uncomfortable and you're pushing yourself each day a little bit more to not be scared of anxiety and panic, because that is where the problem is. We as people, we're scared of that feeling of anxiety, and when you're in a full-blown panic attack, it feels like you're going to die, even though you're not. Your heart is pumping as hard as it can pump, your blood pressure raises. But all these obsessive things, when you see people when they constantly measure their blood pressure, they obsess over it, and it's that obsessive thinking, it's that thought process we've got to change when it comes to anxiety. Because when you take away the fear factor from anxiety and you're not scared of it anymore, you can learn to manage it. I don't think us who suffer from anxiety will never fully. You can never. Once you have a panic attack, you're always scared of that first feeling. Your first panic attack you ever have is the scariest, and you never want to repeat that scenario again. And you're always in a constant loop of being scared of that first time it happened. So that's all it is. But the way exposure therapy works is you're constantly exposing yourself to anxiety, and you slowly go deeper and deeper until you're able to manage the situation. Me, fortunately now, if I have a panic attack, I have the tools to be able to deal with it, because I know all the symptoms. I know I'm in shape. I know my heart's healthy. So I eliminate all possible scenarios. So I reassure myself first, and then after that, it's up to me to just tell myself, instead of saying what if when you're out in public and have a panic attack, what if this happens, what if I faint, what if I have a heart attack, say so what. If I faint, I'll be conscious again in 5 minutes. If I go to the hospital, I have to miss work. Make a joke out of it. As it might sound frustrating to some people, but you've got to understand that anxiety is there to protect you. It's your fight or flight response. It's your body's adrenaline, thinking you're going into battle. It all stemmed from our ancestors when they were hunting, and that literally kept them on their toes, alive. So that's all anxiety is. So I see a lot of people in these Facebook groups as well. They say, is it normal my blood pressure is? Of course it is. If you exercise, you've got to look at anxiety as exercising, or when you're having sex, your body releases that adrenaline. But we associate anxiety with a different feeling because we're scared at the time. But it's all the same. It's the same reaction your brain's making, basically, but we're just associating that with fear. So take that next time you feel a bit anxious, just instead of saying what if, say so what. Say so what. If I pass out, I pass out, and invite the anxiety on as much as you can. And this may sound so silly, but again, you're taking away the fear factor. People are worried about feeling dizzy, and basically this book's good because it tells you, it's stuff like this: Tammy's physical symptoms, heart races, palpitations, hot and sweaty, trembling. Tammy's altered thinking, I'm going to collapse, I won't be able to cope, my heart is racing too much, will it give in? These are all things all of us who suffer from anxiety go through. But you've got to tell yourself, your heart's a very strong muscle. A person will rarely pass out because of anxiety, because of a panic attack. Most of the time, 99% of the time, you pass out or you faint because your sugar levels are low, you haven't eaten. So make sure to stay hydrated, make sure to eat, enough. Don't overeat, but eat enough. Eat, good diet, complex carbs, plenty of, good amount of protein, good fats, things like that. And if people want, I can leave a meal plan down below of just basic meal plan. I mean, it's, I'm not a nutritionist, but I've been exercising for most of my life, so I know a little bit. But anyway, going back to the anxiety point, this booklet just basically covers all that stuff. There's a good sheet here as well, which will benefit a lot of people. Okay, so this is it, exposure hierarchy. So there's a list here, you can print these off. So what's the easiest thing you can do without triggering a panic attack? You'll list that. And then the easiest thing you'll list is you put it at the bottom here, and then you just go up the list. Medium, difficulty, 1 second, and then most difficult, etc. So what's good about this is you can track your progress. So say for instance here, me, when I was at my worst, I couldn't go and get a haircut. So I would put that, say, here, most difficult. Now doing this exposure therapy, that's the easiest. So I would put it at the bottom, and then slowly, once you fill up your list, you can print out a new list and start again, and whichever, and you can track your progress like that. And also as well, you number it. So anxiety rating 0 to 100. So most difficult will probably be close to 100, and then the easiest will be at the lower end of the list. And this one as well is a good one. It's very hard to see it like this. So date and time, duration, and basically what you were doing. So say if you were getting your hair cut, so you put how much was your anxiety. So there's a list at the bottom here. So was it 10% before the exercise? Started the exercise, how was it? And then end the exercise, what was your percentage? Now the whole idea of this is to not try, when we have a panic attack, the first thing we try and do is escape the situation. I know, from me personally, when I feel very anxious, what I used to try and escape the situation. I'll run to the toilet, I'll excuse myself, just think for things like that. But you got to try and stay in that situation for as long as you can. Don't start off slowly, build yourself up, but that's why it's called exposure therapy. You got to try and expose yourself to the anxiety and just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So there's a couple of lists here which is good, and it works. In my opinion, this is the only way to beat anxiety or manage anxiety better. In my opinion, I think it's effective. I think it beats just having a panic attack and just breathing when you're sitting there. Obviously do breathe, but that's painting over the cracks, because you're not necessarily dealing with your anxiety there. You're not taking away. I mean, the fear's still going to be there. So if you learn to not be scared of your anxiety, then it will benefit you a lot. And there's another one here, which is, wait for it to load. Again, I'll attach all these. It just basically runs you through, fight or flight, all these, feelings like that, thinking associated with panic, racing thoughts, catastrophic, normal anxious sensations, my heart skipped a beat, must be having a heart attack. Now if it happens, hyperventilating, anxious breathing, these things are all part of anxiety and panic, but I do feel like this will benefit a lot of people. And then there's another diagram here, basically just says thoughts of racing, helps us evaluate threat quickly and make rapid decisions, can be hard to focus. So all these feelings, I guarantee you a lot of people have these feelings. I know it's easier said than done when you're in that situation, but the idea is to slowly expose yourself to your anxiety to a situation. So if the hardest thing for you to do is go on a train, don't go on a train straight away. Maybe go on a couple of stops, maybe go with a friend or a spouse or a sibling, whichever, and then maybe let them come with you a few stops on the way there, and then you come on the way back, and then build up like that. Don't try and run before you can walk. in anything in life, in anything in life, excuse me, it's the journey there which, you got to somehow, don't be too hard on yourself, especially when it comes to anxiety and panic disorders. You can't feel guilty about the way you feel, but you can take action. And the only way to get yourself better is by exposing yourself to anxiety. Right guys, that's this video. Please like, share and subscribe down below. I'll link all these articles and add-ons and stuff, I mean all these diagrams, excuse me, below. Please follow me on Instagram, follow up my Facebook page, and I will speak to you guys soon.